Of what some people may think of when you think of NASA. You definitely see the space exploration, the ISS, there's launches and such. NASA does a lot. All right, so everything you mentioned, besides maybe the fake moon landing, was true, and we do a lot of things. What I thought about when I was your age in high school was this image here. So this is from about 1997, 1998, when I was in high school. And this was the first time NASA had made it to Mars successfully. We tried a few times and failed over the previous 20 years. And here they were with the Pathfinder mission, actually made it to the surface of Mars, and the little tiny Sojourner rover, which is itty bitty, about the size of a dog, much smaller than the truck size rovers that they have today, was very inspirational. So it was splashed all over the news, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So I saw these and I thought, wow, people are doing things that haven't been done before. That's impressive. I want to do something impressive too. I didn't think of working for NASA. It really did not cross my mind. But I was inspired by what they had done. So I liked math, I liked science, and I thought, well, let's ask around. People said, civil engineers. Civil engineers do math and science. So I applied to college, went to college, studied civil engineering, and then fast forward a few years, I'm sitting on a train, and I'm looking at the course catalog. I don't know if you've ever had these moments where there's a moment in time, you're looking at something and you make a decision, and at that moment, I looked at the course catalog, I thought, wow, next year I'm going to take a whole class on concrete. Flipped a little bit more. Wow, there's a class on aerodynamics. That sounds fun. I'm switching my major. So I decided to study aeronautical and aerospace engineering at that moment, and simply because it was fun. And I didn't think about a career. I wasn't eyeballing NASA or anything. I just thought, this is best for me now, therefore it will be best for me in the future. When I was going into my graduate studies, I made a similar decision. It was, well, what do I want to focus on and dive deeper? AI wasn't a buzzword at that point, but they were doing a lot more advanced controls. And that was an area that I saw moving very rapidly. So there were computational capabilities were growing, people were taking a little more risk when it came to control systems, and I thought, well, I want to be in a place that's progressing fast and be able to make an impact. So that's how I chose to focus on my studies for graduate school. When it came to coming to NASA, they were the place that was either doing the work or funding the work that was being done in industry and academia. So naturally, I met people at NASA at conferences. They invited me to talk. When it was time for them to hire, I was on a short list and they interviewed me. So that's how I ended up at NASA. So question for you, let's keep it here for a second. Why was NASA interested in someone who studied advanced control systems, basically advanced software, what we might consider AI now, called it adaptive controls back then? Why do we use AI now? Why do I work, or did I work, with hundreds of people doing AI?
Because people can make errors
Yeah?
when controlling stuff from interplanetary distance.
Yeah. So computers can be a lot more precise and won't succumb to some of the human errors that we make. Certainly. Why else do we use AI at NASA? Ideas?
It's like communication between such big distances will take a while. If you were given like something where you can just do it by itself, you don't really need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge time delays with that communication, so you need to have whatever's far away be able to do it itself. Great.
could it be used to like look at space and like say spaceships like in space? They didn't want to hit any like rocks or anything like that.
Yeah. So we can plan something, but if there's an obstacle or some other hazard, we need to go around it and you need to be able to react. And it's great. What else? Yeah.
Might be cheaper than trading people more material costs.
Okay. In the long run. And maybe we're making some progress there right now. Yeah.
Work out the best like design for like rocket or something.
Mm-hmm.
Simulate those things before actually launching it.
Yeah. Yeah, the systems we're working on right now are very complex. And before we had small teams, and then it grew into large teams. And now we can use AI to help us design some of these complex systems. What else? Data. We do collect a lot of data. So when we're engaged in space exploration, we're taking these images, we're typically looking for something. We are studying the Earth as well. Climate change is something that our scientists study, and we're using big data and AI to analyze that. Same with the sun and other interactions at a meta level. All right. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the type of AI I was doing when I was at NASA and some of my colleagues as well. So we're going to go through, I think it's about 4 slides. Goes a little bit technical. So raise your hand if you have questions, and hopefully some of it will look familiar. So we'll go to the next slide. So automated design. Like I said before, we had small teams, we had large teams, and now we can use machine learning to help us design things. We've actually been able to use software to help design systems like aircraft, spacecraft, or ground vehicles for a long time. If you can make a model of one of those systems with your mathematical equation, with a computer, then you can have what's called a parameterized model, give those parameters a number, range that it can be in, and then you do a search algorithm around what is the best combination to give you the best performance. Now we can use machine learning to do something even more sophisticated. So one example is 3D printing a rocket nozzle. Sounds complicated, there's a process. Can't use polymers, they need to use metals, multiple metals, they interact at weird atomic levels in weird ways. Machine learning can help figure that out for us, so we don't have to comprehend it all as humans. In the end, you have a system, and then close the loop. Which way is the loop going? Okay, the loop's going this way today. Close the loop around that system and turn it into an intelligent system. It's not always intelligent, and when you add AI, it turns intelligent. So when Tony was here, he was talking about situational awareness for ships. This loop applies to all physical systems when you start introducing AI into it. So situational awareness takes what might be seen or heard or measured in some way around the system or in the system, and helps understand what that means in the worldview, either for the system itself or where it is in the world. So where are those pyramids and such? I lost you? Good? Okay. So once you have some understanding of what's going on, then you can reason about that understanding and make decisions based on it. This is where we have the most humans today. Sometimes we'll trust those computers to help us understand the situation. Tony was talking about trusting his full fleet of 40 people in his ship to help give him situational awareness. Now we trust computers for that in a lot of cases. We still do a lot of the reasoning and decision making ourselves. However, introduce AI, and it can plan or give you the answer of what should be done. And so we're working on this. And that can take two paths. That can either be autonomous, so that decision goes directly into what's going to happen next. Or it spits out to a human. Human thinks about it and decides, yeah, let's give that a go, and continues on. Or makes an adjustment and continues on. Whatever that decision is, it goes into what I would consider an augmentation system. So the augmentation system's responsibility is to say, okay, you wanted something, but considering your goals or your task, that's not what you really want. You want something else. So in the little pictorial, you said you want a pony, but no, pony's not good enough. You want a unicorn. So send over that unicorn. That's augmentation, saying it can be better than that. Then there's the allocation. How do you actually achieve it? So the aircraft has different actuators, rockets have different thrusters, ground vehicles have different ways of moving about. And how do you get that coordinated movement? In this figure, it's someone dancing, right? I wrote that on for you. But how do you synchronize across all the different ways that you can move and give instructions to the system in order to achieve the goal or the task that you have at hand? So that, in a little circle, is intelligent system for NASA. Peter, can you go to the next slide? So we rely on intelligent systems for a lot of things. On those rainy days when humans are making errors, possibly, or the environment's going wrong, or there's an obstacle in the way, this intelligent system is our protection from that storm. Or if things are wonderful and we just want things to continue being wonderful without the human having to continue to engage, it can just keep things going so we can enjoy the fruitful mission that we have at hand. Except we can't do all this unless we really trust that this intelligent system is going to do what we want. We trust each other, and that's based on a relationship that we have over time. You may trust your phone to wake you up in the morning. You may trust other devices in your world. If you have a life-critical system that you need to trust, you never worked with it before, there's not much trust. So we also have to look at verification and validation for developing some assurance that things are going to go well. This is all going to work. You're talking a lot about big data, machine learning. This is where I suspect all the ethical discussion is going to come in. If you're going to develop AI that will assure that the AI that's critical is ethical and going to do the right thing, it's going to be in this box. Or outside of the system, maybe part of the system monitoring it. But this is, I suspect, if you all stay in the field, some of you are writing PhDs in this area. And finally, there's the management. So it may not be completely operational, but with other types of AI, we can take data from the system and monitor, is everything going fine? If it's a fleet of systems, maybe many aircraft or such, is everything okay? Is everything nominal? Is something looking off? Can we predict if something is going to go wrong? And can we manage that and make sure it's just fine? All right, so this is as technical as I go. Questions? I have more slides, but yes.
The AI is autonomous, then can it not self-manage?
It can. So that management system, it depends on the risk that you're willing to take in your mission, and you can choose to put that management system on board, or you can choose to have it on the ground, automated, where there's a lot of transparency with humans, or you can have that as a tool to advise the humans. So there's a lot of different ways to work with at any of these levels, at any of these boxes, and a lot of times these boxes blur together. This is Diana's version for you. Yeah? More questions? All right. Next. ISS. Who mentioned ISS? Did they think of? Yeah? Okay. So ISS has been flying for longer than most of you have been alive. Been up there for over 20 years now. And we use it as a research platform. And it helps us to learn how to live in space and how to push further. So we're talking about setting up a similar type of station around the moon, and we're talking about going to Mars, and this is helping us do the research to get there. Question for you. Intuition has to come into play here. So our astronauts are there, nominally maybe 6 astronauts, and when I say we, I mean the world. This is a world asset here. So 6 astronauts are on board the ISS. They get to do scientific research, and they also have to do housekeeping to keep this thing going. How much time of their working time, maybe percentage-wise or such, do you think they spend keeping up the ISS? Any guesses?
50%.
50%? Okay.
90.
90? 70?
Like 10.
10? Okay.
60.
Okay.
30.
All right. It's all over the place, yeah. All right, it's closer to about 2/3 of their time. So if there are 6 astronauts and they all, split 4 of those full-time hours for those astronauts would be spent just keeping up the system, and the other 2 are doing the research. Of course, they all get to share in the chores and in the research. That's a lot of work. So if we're to send humans to the moon, to Mars for extended periods of time, we don't want them spending 2/3 of their time doing just housekeeping. So a big goal is to help free them up, do the housekeeping for them autonomously using the systems we talked about in that feedback, and then let them do the science and the exploration that we're meant to do. So a few of the projects that we have done. This is autonomous instrument operations, basically translating into smart spacecraft. The water on the ISS is reclaimed water, so they recycle the water, and the astronauts have to go and test the water every so often to make sure it's safe and drinkable. Now, if we just had a system that would take the sample, take the test, send the results, analyze it, etc., then the astronaut wouldn't have to spend a significant portion of their time doing all these little checks. So that was this experiment here. The astronaut is working on a tablet to control this smart part of the spacecraft. It worked. Another bit, that time that is very precious for the astronauts, they don't actually get to control. Someone on the ground tells them what to do with every minute of their work day. So those people on the ground have to learn, does this person like to exercise in the morning or at night? Or who do they like partnering with? And what do they enjoy doing the most? What are they capable of? Very complicated, and sometimes the astronauts might get grumpy about what they have to do if it's not just perfect. So when they're far away from Earth, we want to give them the ability to plan their own days. And we can use AI and the back end of that to help them plan, make sure every critical task gets done, everyone's capable of it, and everyone's happy doing it. Also, new tools. So some of those housekeeping tasks or just chores that they have to do are keeping track of where did that tool go. They want a very tidy ISS. So if you have a little robot that can float around your ISS and go find all those tools and keep track of where everything is, it helps a bit. Also, if someone is doing some maintenance, ground control wants someone holding a camera. You can have a little robot that can float around and hold a camera steady at that work. It's a bit better. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And go to the next. So this is from last April, just a few months ago. This is the first powered flag of Astra V. It is a little robot. If we go to the next one, because I don't like the loops. This is the image of the docking station. It can free fly around the ISS. Very complicated system. A lot of AI built into this. Let's reverse engineer it for a little bit. If that was going to be flying around your ISS, who are the stakeholders that would have something to say about this design, this capability? Who's involved? Yeah.
The astronaut.
The astronaut, absolutely. Who can tell me what the astronauts might care about? They care about whether there's an open mic. They don't care if their pictures are being taken, but they don't want everyone eavesdropping on them. So there's a light on here that indicates when there's an open mic. That's pretty important to design. Okay, who else cares? Yeah?
Ground stuff,
Yeah? What do they care about?
like looking at what the astronauts are doing,
Mm-hmm.
how they're doing
Yeah. So they want to be able, for this Astra V, to accomplish a task. If it's watching something, finding something, and for them, they don't have to schedule it in. They want to just send that command to the Astra V and have it do it. So it will stay on its docking station, charging up, and when it gets a task, it'll undock, go do it, and then go back and recharge. Who are other stakeholders? If your ISS program, you're trying to protect the station itself, what do you care about? You know, let a wild robot fly around, yeah?
If it malfunctions, it should damage the station.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the windows on the ISS are just glass. This cannot go very fast. That's what the ISS cares about. Don't crash into the walls. Don't crash into the windows. And if you do, don't do it at a speed you could break the ISS. Yeah. What about the doctors? What do the doctors care about?
If the people get hurt,
Yep.
if that's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So ideally, Astra V stays out of the way of the astronauts. But Astra V has to go slow, so it can't crash out of the windows. So then Astra V can't get out of the way if an astronaut is moving through very quickly. So that's these rubber bumpers. It's nice and soft. So if it crashes in, the astronaut doesn't hurt. Cool. All right, I have a 2-minute video that shows some of the development of Astra V. This is put together by one of the team members. So if we just click to the next one, it doesn't have any sound, but it shows the prototype progress. Just
Yes, we will.
yeah, there's no voices, so I'll just let you watch it. if you want to find out more, Astrobe has a website. There's also opportunities to be a guest scientist if you have code that you'd like to run on Astrobe on the ISS. That is a possibility. All of the code for the simulation and Astrobe is all open source. You can download it today. You can go through tutorials that are available through Zero Robotics, which is a competition that maybe you've heard about. Anyone been involved in Zero Robotics on the predecessor for Astrobe before? Okay, so a lot of middle school, high school ages have a competition run by MIT that runs software on Astrobe starting in 2020. And so we talked a little bit about AI at NASA and what we thought about when we think about NASA. And the last slide shows you what I think of now. Having been there for over 12 years, I think of the people behind it all. So I just went through the nasa.gov and the NASA Ames Twitter. I found photos. Every single photo in here has one of my colleagues that I've known and worked with for a while. They're all doing amazing things, very brilliant, and I have throughout my career gone from doing the research myself, writing the software, to more of that higher level system, architecture work, and now I'm spending more time leading the teams, leading the people, and really opening up doors. Doing a lot of what we've been doing this week is really honing in on what the problem is and what the solutions could be, and supporting the brilliant people who are making it all happen. And that's what got me here in London. This is, in a way, it's a new skill set that builds off of the engineering computer science background that I had before in leadership now. And so I decided to reskill and stretch myself in that leadership area. So I came to London Business School to do that with this little master's program. And that's why I'm here volunteering this week with you.
Right, any questions?
Yep.
Yes.
You talk about how you did like sort of a maths background to begin with, so I was wondering what the most complex like, maths thing you actually applied in your career was. There's a lot of things with school is, so I'm going to learn this but never use it.
Yeah. I think, so after school, I just kept learning and learning. I can't say that there's anything directly that was from a math course or an engineering course that I didn't apply. Those differential equations, yeah, coded some of those, you know. Yeah, so you just keep learning. That's what research is all about. It's in school you learn how to learn. You develop that solid foundation, and then you just keep building on it, keep imagining, keep trying, and it's growing from there. Yeah.
When did you start production of Astrobe?
So the video that you saw was made last fall and debuted at a technical conference, so that was meant for a technical audience. And that showed 4 years of development. They flew up to the ISS, and 2 of them flew up earlier this winter. The one you saw flying was in April, and they're still commissioning them for actual operation later this year. So around 4+ years, particularly for Astrobe. We actually had a predecessor, which was called Spheres. They are more like soccer balls, and they don't actually do any work. In a sense, they're confined to a very small area, always monitored by the astronauts, and they only do research and competition. But it's the most used research asset on the ISS. And then before that, there was another. Yes.
How much did it cost to create Astrobe?
I actually don't know that answer. At the end, we had a large team. You didn't see the full credits, but there were probably about 36 people who had a significant role in Astrobe throughout the full life.
How long do you think it would be till someone actually goes to Mars?
Oh, good question. So I don't know. Can someone tell me what might be some of the biggest challenges for going to Mars? Yeah.
The atmosphere and also like all the radiation from the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. One of those words. I don't know. So yeah, radiation is a huge problem. It does lots of damage. Okay. Yeah.
The journey time.
The what?
The journey time.
Journey time. Yeah. So about 2 years to go fast. And right now we've had 2 humans stay in space for over a year. So, yeah.
How long would it take to get to Mars?
If we go at an efficient route that we think we can technologically do, 2 years. Maybe 9 months if we have some really crazy innovations with propulsion. Yeah.
But where do you think is most feasible for us to next inhabit? The moon or Mars?
Yeah, so we have to overcome some challenges first with that. So the moon's a little easier because, and I'll give away a spoiler here, because if something goes wrong on the moon, you can just send the person back. So one thing about NASA is we care about our astronauts. We want to take care of them. We want to bring them home safe and healthy. And if something goes wrong on the moon, we can get someone home and take care of them. Can't do that with Mars. Other challenges with getting to Mars? Or, yeah.
Resources for 2 years, 2 years back,
Mhm.
and also steam.
Yeah, absolutely. So resources, water, food, also propulsion. If you want to come back, you have to be able to get back. You have to have the fuel to make that journey back. Can we generate that fuel on Mars? That's something we're looking at right now. So the question is, the answer is there's lots of challenges. Yeah?
Oh, how long does it take to get to the moon?
So less than 2 weeks-ish. And so you just play, it depends. So if you play with orbital dynamics, you can kind of boomerang yourself and get there with less fuel. Yeah. When you come back, you can just kind of fall. So I don't know the answer, actually. When we're going to get there, I don't know. Probably, so there's all sorts of technical challenges. If you throw enough brilliant people at it, like yourselves, then we can overcome a lot of those technical challenges, not without uncertainty and risk. So then the other question is, how much uncertainty and risk are you willing to accept in order to get to Mars? And so it comes a decision, right, that someone has to make. And then above that decision is politics. I mean, our world leaders need to decide that that's a priority, and then put people on that. So, a lot of things necessary to do there. All right. So, finally, that's clear. Do you have questions? Thanks.